a roller coaster happening with regard to the tariffs. Those 25% tariffs that the president slapped on Canada and Mexico on Monday, well, those are apparently not happening, at least when it comes to to Mexico and not Canada. He is reversing some of them, at least maybe. Frankly, the reason why it's hard for us to describe is because nobody knows what exactly is happening. The president's Commerce Secretary said this morning that he was likely to postpone them for at least a month, but then minutes ago, President Trump said that they are going to delay those tariffs for Mexico, but not Canada. Washington, Wall Street, and Main Street have a lot riding on this. Everybody is extremely confused. Maybe Jeff Zeleny is not one of those people. Jeff, you're standing outside the White House. You're on the North Lawn. Can you give us any sense of what all this means?
Well, Dana, if there's any question of why the market has been so confused and rattled in recent days, I think the events of the last really hour sum it up quite perfectly, and certainly of the last month. The president often threatens tariffs. This time he went through with tariffs, and now we are learning that he is pulling back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Looks like Dana Bash from CNN was having a hard time with that because, like she said, they don't know what's happening from moment to moment. Yes, it's on. No, it's off. Yes, it's on. Maybe it's on. Maybe it's off. Maybe it's partially on. Maybe it's partially off. You know, it's one of those multiple choice questions from school. Honestly, I don't think this administration has a plan. It has an anger management problem, but it doesn't have a plan. So when Rupert Murdoch comes out, and I'm sure I shouldn't have to explain to you who Rupert Murdoch is, but for the sake of it, I'll tell you that he's the owner of the Wall Street Journal and of Fox News Media. He's your friendly neighborhood Fox man. Yeah, he's the guy that's got Fox Entertainment and Fox Live and Fox at 5 and whatever else they call themselves. When Rupert Murdoch comes out with a screenshot on the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal calling this the dumbest tariff plunge ever by Donald Trump, yeah, you got to figure it's a mistake. Rupert didn't get rich by being stupid. He's made a lot of choices in his time. He's made a lot of mistakes in his time. He's never made a mistake like this. It was him and another gentleman long time ago that decided that they could use the news media disinformation to sow the seeds of discontent in the American electorate. When Rupert, Donald's savior to some point, says that it's the dumbest movie he's ever seen, you got to bet it is. Since Donald Trump's inauguration in January of 2025, a particular group of Americans has been affected by what he's doing, and that group is the Midwest American farmers. You'll remember during his last administration that there was a record number of bankruptcies and losses of family farms that dated back hundreds of years. The Midwest farmers are a very proud group. They should be. They feed you and me most of the time.
Difficult times for dairy farmers may soon get even tougher.
We are one of the many dairy farmers in Wisconsin that sold our cows.
Now, Sarah Lloyd fears a looming trade war will accelerate economic uncertainty and put more farms out of business.
We're losing the small and mid-sized farms. We're losing the backbone of our rural economy, and it's very dangerous.
She's one of several farmers who met with members of Congress on Capitol Hill this week, as President Donald Trump says new tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico will take effect on March 4th. Several American products, from dairy to beef to farm equipment, now targeted for retaliation.
I just don't think we need to pick on so many countries, because there's a lot of them that do use our products.
Still, Travis Anderson, a North Dakota small grains farmer and cattle rancher, says he largely supports President Trump. During his first term, Anderson says federal payments to offset losses from tariffs helped him get by.
There was a program that Sonny Perdue put in place to make sure that our farmers were made whole. We are building that up again.
President Trump's new Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, argues tariffs will level the playing field in global trade long term.
I'm hopeful that ultimately, and believe ultimately, that the tariffs discussion will end with our farmers and ranchers being more prosperous than ever before.
Iowa farmer Patty Naylor says reform is needed to achieve fairer prices, but she thinks the president's approach is overly broad.
The Midwest farmers are being put under heavy pressure by their bankers and their suppliers saying, show us the receipts that say you can complete your crop this year because we're not clear where you're getting your money anymore because there's tariffs coming in, your costs are higher. Oh yeah, U.S. aid just ended. And that U.S. aid, if I remember correctly, I'm going to look at some numbers here. I don't want to say the wrong number, but yeah, there it is. That U.S. aid package that was supposed to go to the Midwest farmers this year to grow the food that the U.S. government was giving away in a humanitarian effort, that number was $10 billion. Well, if you're a Midwest banker and you know things are kind of tight as they are, and then the on-again, off-again tariffs and the stock market being down well over 3,000 points since his inauguration, 600 points as of the time that I'm doing this broadcast, well, then you've got to protect your bank and your people, and you've got to say to the farmers coming in, show me some receipts. And unfortunately, the farmers don't have the receipts because they don't have the $10 billion backing. They have a 25, maybe a 45% tariff coming in on all their food. So the banker, he's, you know how it is. You've applied for a loan before. The banker's going to say, what's the worst case scenario? There's a 45% tariff on your food, and let's say you can only sell 80% of your food. This is what I think you're going to make. Yeah, I can't give you a loan. Not right now. Maybe next year. But unfortunately, the farmers have already invested into their ground. The farmers have invested into you and me, hoping that we're going to buy it, we're going to eat it, we're going to sell it. And yeah, we're not there. And the only reason we're not there is because the government isn't there. The government cut away U.S. aid in just another effort to make this thing we call democracy a little less stable. I'm going to be poking at a little thought that I have in the back of my head, and I'm going to be poking all of you with the ideas. So the question is, why would anyone want to destabilize the American economy? And I'll just let it lay there. You pick it up and you think about it. Toss some answers down in below, because I've got some projects that I'm working on that suddenly ask that question, and I don't have the answer to that. Not one that I want to say out loud right now. In early March of 2025, and I want to read this note just to make sure I have it right, the Trump administration imposed a 25% tariff on vehicle imports from Canada and Mexico, aiming to bolster the domestic manufacturing. Well, let's stop right there and analyze that, because I thought the USMCA was there to bolster the American auto industry. And now we're going to add a tariff on something that he created, that he designed, and that he approved, but now we have to put another tariff on it. Why would we want to do that? The price increase that would happen with a 25 or a 45% tariff on domestic automobiles because of the steel, because of the products that we transfer back and forth across the border, some products crossing the border multiple times for rework or work that's done in a planned pattern. We're talking the possibility, at minimum, in some cases for a low-priced automobile, of a $3,000 price increase. I saw a news clip here just recently, a Fox News. I went to a Dodge dealer, and he was looking at a Dodge Ram that had a price tag on it of $80,000. Given the minimum 25% tariff for that vehicle coming into the United States on its parts, a 25% increase on $80,000 puts that truck at $100,000. I happen to really like trucks. I'm not going to give you $100,000 for an American-made truck. I'm not giving you $100,000 for anybody's truck. So that's going to decrease the automotive industry here in the United States. The domestic auto industry is not going to benefit from a tax or a tariff, a Trump tax, I'll call it, on anything coming across the border in regards to autos. The USMCA was supposed to have taken care of that. So for those of you who picked up on the web address I gave you for the stock market, the CNBC.com front page, if you look at it, as I was coming in, it was somewhere around 500 points down. I'm going to give you a reminder here of SCOTUS's decision also against Trump. So given the fact that we've got Trump battling our allies, Canada, Mexico, and China is more than willing to go to war with us, which would destabilize the U.S. economy yet again, I thought we had a non-war president here. That's what he claims to be, but it's not sounding that way. But if all of that is true, if the stock market is down over 3,000 points for the year, if you have Midwest banks and Midwest farmers unable to do business with each other, if you don't have a $10 billion project that was already earmarked and already approved by Congress, if that money's not going out so that farmers can grow the humanitarian food that's being given out around the world, if none of that is happening, show me what good there is in that. You say that, according to MAGA, that he's looking for waste. Well, I suggest that you're creating waste. You're laying off thousands of people at minimum. You're creating chaos in the Midwest Farm Belt. You're creating chaos on the stock market. And by the way, for those of you who haven't picked up on it yet, the reason the stock market keeps going up and down every other day is because the oligarchs keep slapping Donald in the back of the head and telling him to stop playing with the market. The next thing he's going to do is he's going to start playing with the Fed. Then I think the oligarchs are going to want to get rid of him. But I digress. None of this is good for our country. None of it makes any sense. Not if you're trying to stabilize the American economy. Not if you're trying to keep the U.S. as a world power. Not if you're trying to work with our allies and keeping a democratic society available for the rest of the world to look to. Again, I'll ask you, what's the purpose of destabilizing the U.S. economy and the U.S. citizenship? Why do we have to be battling with each other? It's the chaos that he lives in. It's the chaos that he wants you and me to live in. Because then he's getting away with whatever he wants in the background while you and I fight with each other. Yeah, it's not a good thing. I'm going to leave you with a clip of the Commerce Secretary, or that's at least what Donald calls him, Howard Lutnick, on tariffs. And if you can make any sense out of what he's saying, put it in the comments below. I'm asking, please. Take a look at this.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
My expectation is the president will come to the agreement today, and hopefully we will announce this today, that USMCA compliant goods will not have a tariff for the next month until April 2nd. Hopefully Mexico and Canada will have done a good enough job on fentanyl that this part of the conversation will be off the table and we'll move just to the reciprocal tariff conversation.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with that, again, thank you for being here. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my non-subscribers. Thank you to the people around the world. I just can't believe the number of cities and the number of countries that write to me and let me know what's going on in their world. I appreciate you every day. Do me a favor, hit the like, as usual, help my algorithm, and with that, I'm going to say thank you and have a wonderful night. Good night.